Over the last week, the Middle East has seen a massive spike in cross-border fire. Iranian missiles have struck targets in Kuwait, Iraq, and Jordan, while at least 13 American service members have been injured in the resulting chaos. In the middle of this exchange, Iranian state television broadcast a massive claim to its people. They announced that Iranian forces had successfully attacked a United States military base in Syria, capturing and killing American troops in the process. But the story is completely fabricated. The base they claim to have destroyed is the Al-10th Garrison, an outpost the U.S. military actually abandoned months ago during Operation Epic Fury. Central Command confirmed no U.S. troops were captured or killed. To understand why a government would broadcast such a blatant lie, you have to look inside the country. The Iranian regime has spent the last year violently cracking down on civilian protests, resulting in the imprisonment and execution of thousands of its citizens. They desperately need to project strength and unity to maintain control. You can see this in the highly orchestrated mass mobilization for Ayatollah Khamenei's funeral procession, a staged display of order to mask deep internal fractures. These scattered regional missile strikes and fabricated military triumphs are a smokescreen. They are designed to distract from the reality of a highly targeted, ongoing war happening right now. The actual military reality on the ground is stark. The United States is currently executing its 7th consecutive day of punishing airstrikes directly against Iran. These strikes are hitting surveillance sites, military logistics infrastructure, and underground weapons storage. Neither side is talking about Iran's nuclear program or toppling the clerical regime. This map shows the geography both sides are fighting over. The conflict is localized to one bottleneck, the Strait of Hormuz. Global maritime trade is massively concentrated here, squeezing tankers into a tiny corridor, vulnerable to the shorelines. Beneath all the proxy fire and propaganda, the core disagreement driving this war is entirely about who gets to dictate the rules in the world's most critical economic artery. Right now, the United States is operating under a clear strategic posture. At the Commander-in-Chief's direction, U.S. forces are acting as the self-appointed guardians of the strait, enforcing a strict naval blockade against Iranian ports. Iran is fighting to break that blockade. Their stated goal is to take absolute control of the waterway so they can dictate terms, which includes charging their own tolls and transit fees to global shipping companies. The U.S. has achieved significant tactical victories during its bombing campaign, successfully destroying key Iranian maritime surveillance sites and crippling their aerial drone infrastructure. But those tactical strikes haven't neutralized the threat. Iran still possesses a massive, untouched arsenal of ballistic and cruise missiles that were either hidden or spread too wide to be destroyed by the initial American bombardment. Because they can't match the U.S. Navy ship for ship, Iran is bypassing the maritime blockade entirely. They are using those surviving missiles to strike civilian targets, like a major power and desalination plant in Kuwait, to extort their neighbors. American air superiority can destroy radar dishes and drones, but it cannot secure the waterway as long as Iran retains the ballistic capacity to hold the region's energy and water infrastructure hostage. This ability to survive massive, sustained bombardment is a feature Iran shares with its proxy forces across the Middle East. Take Hamas in the Gaza Strip. Despite nearly 3 years of intense military pressure and heavy casualties inflicted by Israel since October 7th, both U.S. and Israeli intelligence estimate the group still commands an active force of over 25,000 fighters. To the north, you see the exact same pattern in Lebanon. While there is a fragile ceasefire in place, the Hezbollah terror group sits on vast, untouched arsenals of rockets and maintains a force of tens of thousands of fighters under arms, ready to deploy at a moment's notice. Whether engaging Hamas, or fighting Hezbollah, or the Iranian military itself, the United States and its allies are not fighting fragile organizations. They are facing a decentralized network specifically designed to absorb endless punishment and remain combat effective. The diplomatic avenues to defuse this standoff have completely stalled. A 60-day memorandum of understanding was agreed to a month ago to establish terms, but with only 30 days left on the clock, neither side is even discussing a return to the negotiating table. To enforce the blockade, over 50,000 American military personnel are scattered across Middle Eastern bases. Add 2 full carrier strike groups offshore. The financial price tag for maintaining this heavy military deployment has already run into the tens of billions of dollars. Without a diplomatic off-ramp, the United States is now locked into an open-ended, astronomically expensive war of attrition, simply to keep the Strait of Hormuz open for business. The broad geopolitical objectives of the last decade, nuclear containment and the fate of the clerical regime, have now condensed into a single physical point of contact. This standoff over the taxation and transit rights of a single geographic choke point now represents the front line for both Iranian domestic survival and Western economic security. With both the US and Iran heavily armed and dug in, the cycle of strikes and blockades has become the definitive new normal for global security.